When you first declare an array the way we described, it won't have anything useful in it though. You can also preload an array with values if you know ahead of time what they'll be. This statement here declares an array of integers called lottery with 6 elements. We specify what the elements are in the curly braces. This is referred to as initializing the array. Notice the equal sign too. We're setting this array equal to a list of stuff. Next, notice the stuff is inside curly braces. Finally, we see that each element is separated by a comma. Now, of course, if you know the winning lottery numbers ahead of time, you should stop watching this and go buy a ticket. Another way to declare and initialize an array is to let the compiler match the array size to the list by omitting the size from the brackets, like we can see here. So going back to our lottery example, we could write something like this, which creates an array with 6 elements, even though there's no number in the brackets. And when setting up an array like this, the size of the array is determined by the number of elements you're initializing. Sticking to our lottery example, let's say that we want our program to pick the last 2 numbers we're going to play. To do that, we can write something like this. This time, we do have to tell the compiler how big the array will be. But even though we've only initialized 4 elements, the compiler will leave room for 2 more, creating an array that can hold up to 6. Note that although our lottery program will update the last 2 elements as it runs, perhaps, the compiler will initialize these last 2 to 0. So if we try to use elements 5 or 6 right away, we'll get 0. And this is an important caveat when doing arrays like this. The remaining elements are set to 0. So now we know what we need to know, for now at least, about declaring and initializing arrays. That brings us to our next question. How do we use arrays in our programs? Well, in order to understand how to use arrays, we need to understand indexing. Think of a nonfiction book. Just like that book uses an index to help you locate information, an array uses an index so you can locate or refer to data in the array. These are always integers and are also called subscripts and offsets. But we're just going to use the word index from here on. Let's take a look at an actual array to see what this is all about. We'll start with a simple Arduino specific example. Let's say we want to light 6 LEDs. We could connect them to pins 2 through 7, then declare and initialize an array as shown here. But we don't want to light all of them at once. We want to light certain ones at certain times, so we need a way to refer to the LED we want to light. And so we'll refer to the LED we want lit using its index. For example, we can write something like this to light the appropriate LED. But there's a catch when using arrays. The numbering of array indices starts with 0, not 1. Take a look at our original declaration. In this case, our digital write statement is referring to pin 4. Not pin 3.